Okay, we're going to pick back up with the Metu by Ra'un Nefer Amen. And this is volume 1. Now last time we touched on the preface and kind of gave the background to the book. Again, this is a book that's really talking about metaphysics. Not exclusively metaphysics, but you have to understand what today they call metaphysics in the Western world because we are westernized, so especially Black Americans are. So we're going to have to understand that though it's trying to get us to move away from left brain Western thinking or European thinking, I'm going to try to relate it to Western values so we can understand it, because we are as Western as any European in how we think and how we act because of our culture and the culture we came up in. Metaphysics is really looking at a discovery of the divine plan, and the divine plan contains knowledge of the unifying principles that shape our existence. That is the point of metaphysics. All of the things, how do they connect? The right side of the brain is what connects. And this is what really chapter 1 gets into, so that's a really good segue. The difference between the races and the cultures of how we express ourselves is highly dependent upon which side of the brain we use. Our left side of the brain divides things. It categorizes things. It gives us steps. That is where a lot of our sciences and a lot of our philosophy, a lot of our classification, a lot of the external learning comes from our left brain. Our right brain is what unifies, what connects. Okay? Now, our left brain is external, so it takes in other left brain information, books, teachings, communication. Things have been symbolized and devised into certain meanings, and the left side divides things and what means things and what doesn't, and what is meaningful and what isn't. The right side of the brain functions in a unity and a perfected timing that the left side of the brain doesn't know. Our right side of the brain is what makes our body digest food. Our pancreas create insulin. Our cells to divide and create and to nourish and to balance everything in the body that's needed, where even if it's something harmful, our body fights it off. It's a perfect system that makes us function. What the Metu is saying, and metaphysics for that matter, the reason why our bodies function so perfectly is because of the high functioning of the right side of the brain, which is internal. Our left side of the brain, as Western people, is what we focus on because we focus on the external. Even God, to Western people, is not in us. God is in the sky, so we're taught. God is in heaven. God is up above. As opposed to right brain people who understand that their biggest power is in the right side of their brain, they meditate. They go inside with an understanding that God is inside. Now, here's the deal. If you think about Western religion, the quote unquote truth is present, because it said God breathed the breath of life into Adam, which animated Adam. That passed on through all of his descendants. So the breath of God is actually a piece of God in you, which animates you. So it makes sense that the Asiatic, African, Sumerian, Canaan, Middle Eastern area, and some Oriental area that goes within to find God, to find answers, meditation, prayer, chanting, etc. It's actually consistent even with the external religion. God is in heaven, because it says God breathed the breath of life into man, and that's when man came alive. That also answers how God could be omnipresent. If God is in everything that's alive, God is everywhere. So it actually takes us to life means the presence of God. Death means the absence of God. Whole nother deal. But now that's the metaphysical part. What I want to start with, and I learned this in one of my classes. Let's start with the title of the book. Metu. These are Egyptian words. And we're going to get into the name Egypt as well. Metu is an Egyptian word that means without fear. Neter means God. So this book is without fear of God, or without fear discussing God. I have actually started following the author on Facebook. And, you know, I'll see how many answers I can get. Now, I understand he wrote this book 200 years ago, and he's completely on a whole nother level. But I recommend that when you read something, especially scholarly writing, and this is not a scholar, this is not what Europeans or Americans or Westerners see as a scholarly writing. That's on the value system of United States scholarship. That doesn't mean that it's not intelligent, doesn't mean it's not valuable, but is it cited? Is it touching on other sources? Yes, it touches other sources, but not in the format of what we know as doctoral scholarly writing in the United States. So it's set up a little different. It's trying to go to explain the knowledge of self, and it's touching on a lot of this is going to touch the Asiatic area. All right, that's going to be Mesopotamia, Sumer, basically northern Africa, the Horn of Africa, and the Middle East, where civilization is believed to have begun. And it touches on the fact that the original name of Egypt is Kemet. And I may be pronouncing that wrong. It is K-A-M-I-T. K-A-M-I-T. Kemet. And it has been also written K-E-M-E-T or K-A-M-I-T. But it is what is thought to be the original name of Egypt. So when you see that, you know where we're going from. And it goes directly into the hemisphere of the brains, breaking down the left side's function, the right side's function, in that men are more left brain than women. Whites are more left-brained than blacks, and it goes into different Yoruba writings that support the difference in how the brain goes. So the point is, in the first chapter, you must first understand none of this stuff, when you remove the personal out of it and can connect, which is why we're into metaphysics, the science, the religion, the racial components, all of these multiple systems. Why is it whites think and function different than blacks? Why is it some religions think differently than others? The metaphysical is connecting all of those things as opposed to negating some of those. So again, we're going to pick up, I know it, I'm muscling through it, muscle with me.